Hello again, and welcome to the third of our Boundless motoring Q&A sessions. This week, it's an electric cars special. Lots of you have been in touch, and there's loads to get through, so let's get on with the first question. Our first question comes from David, who asks, how much did it cost to charge an electric car? I'm afraid there's no short answer to this one. Charging costs vary dramatically, depending on the size of your battery, the speed of the charge, how much you top up, and the price of the electricity tariff. But let's say you have a typical electric car with a 60 kilowatt hour battery and a driving range of about 200 miles, something like the Renault Zoe, for example. And let's say you're charging at home with a 7 kilowatt wall box charger. These are usually included and installed free when you buy the car. Now, for a full charge, which would take around 7 hours, and on a domestic tariff of approximately 16 pence per kilowatt hour, your charge would cost about £8.50. But of course, it depends on the rate that you're paying for your electricity. Public charges, on the other hand, are a different matter. The cost of those depends on the speed, whether you use a slow one, a fast one, or a rapid one, and the tariff set by the supplier, plus any additional admin charges. But let's say you top up for about 30 minutes on a rapid charger, that's the fastest type available. That will give you about 100 miles of additional range and will typically cost about £6 or £7. As a general rule, the faster and more convenient the charger, the more it will cost. For example, fully charging a high-end EV such as the Jaguar I-Pace or the Audi e-tron at the fastest charging speed could cost upwards of £50 or £60 or more. But don't forget, it is also possible to charge for free. Many supermarkets have free charging points for customers, and your employer may offer free charging in the workplace. Next, we have a question from John, who asks, what do EVs feel like to someone who's not driven one before? Well, the first thing you'll notice is just how nippy they are. Even smaller, cheaper EVs are really quick off the mark. The main reason for this is that electric motors deliver all of their torque instantly, so you don't have to wait for them to get going or rev up or for turbochargers to kick in. Another thing you'll notice is how smooth and quiet electric cars are. There's a sort of sci-fi whirring from the motors, but there's no engine or exhaust noise, obviously. However, this does mean you'll become more sensitive to other sounds, such as wind noise and tyre noise. The other significant difference between EVs and combustion cars is the regenerative braking effect you get from an electric car. Regenerative braking harvests the kinetic energy usually lost while braking and uses it to recharge the battery. So, just by lifting off the throttle slightly, the car will slow down noticeably. Many EVs actually have a one-pedal driving function. That is, you can control the speed using only the accelerator. It might sound a bit daunting, but once you get the hang of it, it's super smooth and more instinctive than you might imagine. And don't worry, EVs are intelligent enough to know when to illuminate the brake lights when the car slows down, even if you're not touching the brake pedal. The next question is from Keith, who asks, is it possible to tow a caravan with an electric car? Well, the answer is yes, it is, but only if the car is officially approved for towing by the manufacturer, and currently only a handful of them are. The Audi e-tron has the option of a tow bar, and the Tesla Model X even has a special trailer mode. Of course, EVs have more than enough torque and pulling power from their electric motors for towing, but of course towing will have a huge impact on the range of the battery, much like it affects the fuel economy of a petrol or a diesel car. Also, the extra weight and push effect of a caravan could upset an electric car's regenerative braking system and stability control system. So, in short, if you're thinking of using an electric car for towing, talk to the manufacturer or the dealership first, and only ever use approved towing accessories. The next question is from Joan, who asks, has anyone considered adapting existing garage forecourts with windmills and solar panels to charge electric cars? Well, that's a good question. In theory, solar-powered forecourts are possible. In fact, a company called GridServe has already submitted plans to build one in Essex later this year. That station will be powered by a combination of solar roof panels on site, as well as energy from a nearby solar farm. That energy is then kept in battery storage units, a bit like fuel is stored in tanks under traditional forecourts. GridServe claims the site will be able to charge 24 cars at once at speeds of up to 350 kilowatts, which is actually much faster than the speed most EVs are capable of charging at. That solar station is one of a number of dedicated EV hubs springing up around the country, many of which use clean, renewable energy. We explored two of them in the latest issue of Boundless magazine when we drove a Renault Zoe from the BP Chargemaster station in Milton Keynes to the Green Market car park in Dundee, one of the UK's EV hotspots. You can also read more about future fuel stations, and how they'll be powered by searching for my recent article in the Boundless members area online. Our final question today is from Kate, who asks, how much will the weight of passengers and luggage affect the range of my EV battery? For example, going on holiday with 3 people and 3 suitcases in the car. Well, adding extra weight to an EV inevitably impacts on the driving range, just the same as it would affect the fuel economy of a petrol or a diesel car. By how much is hard to say. It depends on the size of your electric car, its battery capacity, and where and how you're driving. For example, if you're on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, it will be less energy efficient. Some bigger EVs are obviously more suited to family work, the Jaguar I-Pace for example, whereas smaller EVs such as Peugeot's new E208 are more suited to city work. But as we showed in the recent Boundless magazine story with the Renault Zoe, it's perfectly possible to go further afield. You can find that story in the latest issue of the magazine, along with Paul Horrell's excellent insights into the future of hydrogen fuel. That's it for this week. Thanks for all your questions, and remember, if there's something you'd like to ask, you can get in touch via the Boundless Facebook, Twitter pages, or via the email address you see on your screen now. See you next time.